Hello, our group did a replication on a study about decreasing sleep onset delay. My name is Alexia.
My name's Corey.
My name's Lauren.
My name's Erin.
And my name's Adasia.
We're going to jump right in with talking about a literature review. The current parent reports of sleep disturbances for children and adolescents with autism spectrum disorder range from 40 to 83%. When comparing this to typically developing children, we're seeing rates at 9 to around 50%. Commonly reported sleep disturbances are insomnia, restless sleep, short sleep duration, long sleep duration, early morning waking, and increased sleep latency and time awake at night. That one is particularly more important as adolescents grow into adulthood. Variables that are affected by these sleep disturbances are irritability, inattention, hyperactivity, physical aggression, sensory sensitivity, cognitive abilities, working memory, academic performance, and depression and anxiety symptoms. Sensory sensitivities are one of the core elements within the restricted and repetitive behavior category of the autism spectrum diagnostic criteria. A study published by Manelis Brahm et al. In 2022 displayed a significant correlation between sleep disturbances and overall increased sensory sensitivity. Reports showed that there was increased sensory avoidance and sensory sensitivity when looking at just nighttime sleep. When we're looking at nighttime sleep compared with daytime sleep, including naps, the reports are showing an increased occurrence of sensory seeking, sensory avoiding, and overall sensory sensitivity. The prevalence of sensory problems in children with ASD is estimated at 69 to 95% in comparison to 3 to 14% of typically developing children. Sleep disturbances have shown a negative correlation with our working memory deficits. For Calhoun et al. In 2017 highlighted the existing challenges that children and adolescents with ASD have with executive functioning and expanded on the impact that sleep disturbances have on working memory. Delayed maturity and peak of working memory and significant difficulties in working memory and significant learning difficulties in general make sleep disturbances and executive functioning much more difficult for our teens and adults on the spectrum with sleep disturbances. The working memory refers to our ability to maintain information in an accessible state while performing secondary tasks.
The study we conducted was a replication study done by Jen, Hanley, and Belu. It was a study of 3 individual children, 2 of them which were diagnosed with autism spectrum disorders. The study that we're replicating measured sleep onset delay, sleep interfering behaviors, night wakings, total sleep, parental presence, and medication administration. The study also used an infrared nighttime video. Our study will be a replication with slight alterations in procedure. The purpose of our study is to replicate that the study found that changing environmental factors for each child were an effective treatment to treating sleep problems. The sleep problem that we will be targeting is sleep onset delay. So we are replicating the findings that altering our environment, such as no electronics, will decrease our sleep onset delay.
The The participants are all 5 Ball State University students. The participants are all female and range in age from 24 to 31. Participants came together for the study for a class assignment for their advanced applied behavioral analysis class.
So we're going to go over our participants. My name is Alexia. I'm 25 years old. I live in Northern Kentucky. I always sleep with my husband and our 2 dogs. I often find myself playing on my phone while I'm in bed, which keeps me up later. So I do experience some sleep onset delay. And my goal for the study was to reduce my sleep onset delay to less than 30 minutes.
My name is Corey Bates. I'm 26 years old. I reside in Michigan with roommates and a nice golden retriever who sleeps with me in my room with a fish tank. I use electronics in bed, particularly play video games, and my goal is to reduce my sleep onset delay to 30 minutes or less.
My name is Lauren Greeley, and I am 24 years old. I live in Northern Kentucky. I often look at my phone while I'm trying to go to sleep or watch TV while I'm trying to go to sleep. And other than that, I'm always bouncing between my bed or my boyfriend's bed, so it's always a different setting. My goal is to decrease my sleep onset delay to less than 30 minutes.
My name is Erin. I am 31 years old. I live in central Indiana. I often use my phone before bed, checking social media, emails, work schedules, and text messages. And I am sometimes joined by my daughter in bed. My goal is to decrease sleep onset delay to 30 minutes or less as well.
Hi, my name's Adeja. I'm 27 years old and I live in West Michigan. I often will sleep in the bed with my boyfriend who needs a fan to sleep because he generally tends to run kind of hot. I also will go on my phone or watch TV while lying in bed trying to go to sleep. And my goal as well is to reduce sleep onset delay to less than 30 minutes. So the materials that we used, all of us used an app called Sleep Recorder. The app allows participants to alter the recorder sensitivity to sound. The participants set the recorder sensitivity prior to baseline so it would not pick up background noise. So this would be things like fans and things of that nature. So for our study, our behavior definition, we defined sleep onset delay as time between laying in bed and the time to actually falling asleep. Onset is the time that the participants lays in bed. Offset is the time that the participants fall asleep. So some examples of this would include a participant laying in bed, relaxing, and trying to fall asleep. Non-examples would include a participant sitting on their bed to do laundry, homework, watch TV, things of that nature.
Our data collection, data were collected using an app on our phones called Sleep Recorder app. Participants looked at recordings from the Sleep Recorder app to determine the time they fell asleep. We found the first recording that indicated sleep to determine sleep onset delay. And then all participants logged their data the following morning through either they logged it in their notes, or we also had a shared file on Excel that we logged at least weekly. And our design, we did a multiple baseline design across participants. This design was used to determine if the intervention had a causal effect on the participant's sleep onset delay before and after intervention.
So for our baseline, we all followed our regular sleeping routines. So whenever we went and laid down in bed, we would start the sleep recorder app. And that's how we got the data for our baseline. And then for our intervention, we removed our distractions. So Corey with our video games, a lot of us with our phones, TVs. And so we'd go lay down in bed with none of our distractions, and we would start our sleep recorder app. And then the following morning, we would get on our Excel sheet or our notes and record our sleep onset delay duration.
To track inter-observer agreement throughout the study, at least 20% of each of the participant sessions, which was 20% of the baseline and 20% of intervention, were calculated for IOA. The IOA we used was total duration, which was figured out by taking the shorter duration over the longer duration and multiplying it by 100 to get the percentage. To complete the IOA, we sent the sound recordings from the apps to one or more other people in the groups. And if there was any percentage below 70%, we did retraining. For treatment integrity, there was an intervention checklist that we created at the beginning of the study, and we completed this in at least 20% of the sessions total. In our intervention checklist, we looked at if the participant had began the sleep recorder app when they were supposed to, follow the intervention protocol of no electronics every time, make sure that the participant did not interact with any electronics once that sleep recorder was started, and if the participant analyzed the recordings and recorded the data the next morning, or at least that next day. And also, did the participant follow the intervention and collect data 3 to 5 nights a week to make sure we covered, we had enough data to establish stability.
All right, so we're going to talk about our results.
So for my results, I found that my baseline average was 38.6 minutes of sleep onset delay, and those times ranged from 36 to 46 minutes. Throughout the intervention, I saw a significant decrease, and I fell asleep much faster with 13.8 minutes on average, with a range of 7 to 30 minutes. And that 30-minute interval is like the first one after baseline. So immediately after that, I saw a decrease. Overall, I showed a 64% decrease after the no electronics were established. This is my graph showing my data.
So for my results, my baseline average, I took 96.5 minutes to fall asleep. My range was 85 minutes to 110 minutes. I had a drastic decrease in my sleep onset delay as well. I went from 96 all the way down to 32.2 minutes with a range of 22 to 40 minutes. The intervention was effective in decreasing my sleep onset delay, but my sleep goal was not met. It was very close. My goal was 30 minutes, and I ended at 32.2 minute average. I ended up with a 67 decrease in sleep onset delay after implementing intervention. And here's my graph. So here's where we took IOA. This you'll see on all of our graphs. And then the data points that we treatment integrity.
My average baseline was 61.9 minutes for my sleep onset delay. My baseline ranged from 46 to 77 minutes. I made it down to an average range of 24.6 minutes. My intervention range ranged from 15 to 34 minutes. And I think my 34-minute was just one random one-off night. I do believe that the intervention was very effective in decreasing my sleep onset delay, and my goal was achieved. Here is my sleep onset delay graph, with the very last data point being that high marker, I think.
For my results, my baseline average was 46.6 minutes of onset sleep delay. And my baseline range was 31 minutes to 71 minutes. And my through intervention, my sleep onset delay decreased quite a bit. My average came down to 17.6 minutes of sleep onset delay, and my ranges were 12 to 24 minutes. The intervention, I believe, was very effective. And here's my graph. Yeah, as you can see, we have some different data points of when we took IOA and intervention integrity.
So I was last to get into the intervention phase. So I'm currently in my intervention phase at the moment. I definitely have noticed that there's been like an increase in like my sleep onset delay during the intervention phase as well. But so that's just to explain why it says NA next to my portion of the intervention. But the baseline average for me, it was about 87.5 minutes of onset sleep delay. And then we can see my baseline range was from 23 to 200. The 200, I just had a really hard time going to sleep that night. But yeah. And then this is my graph as well.
So for our group results, all participants that are in intervention decreased their sleep onset delay. Starting with Lauren, she decreased her sleep onset delay from 38.6 minutes to an average of 13.8 minutes. Alexia had a baseline of 96, which went down to 32. Aaron from 46 all the way down to 17.6 minutes. And Corey decreased her sleep onset delay from a baseline average of 61.9 all the way down to 24.6 minute average. And Adeja, like she was saying, she's currently in her intervention phase, finding stability, which you'll read on our report. And for our conclusion, the replication study proved beneficial for all participants. As you saw, we all had significant decreases in our sleep onset delay, even if we all didn't reach our sleep goal. For example, I didn't reach mine, but it was only off by 2.2 minutes.
We did face some limitations throughout the study replication. The first limitation that we experienced was that we did not have access to all the materials from the original study. In the original study when it was conducted, it used an infrared video recorder that recorded the participants' wake times through movements and sound. So we obviously did not have that. We had to come up with an alternative method of sleep recording that would allow us to determine our sleep onset delay. And that's when we determined we would use the sleep recorder app, which didn't have video, which was a limitation. We also began our baseline a little differently, and then we quickly realized that we needed to change how we were taking baseline data. So we originally started taking our baseline data by setting a timer for our recorder to, like a 30-minute timer to record our sleep onset delay. But then instead of having that delay on the recorder, we then just immediately started our app. So we were able to determine our sleep onset delay. Another limitation was we were limited with engaging with our group members due to conflicting schedules and living in different states. And then time constraints for the data collection, with this being a short semester, our data collection time period caused lower intervention results. So those were some of our limitations.
All right, and these are our references. Thank you all for watching and listening. Bye.